Hi, gorgeous ones. It's Catherine here, and welcome to day three of the Infinite Woman Richer Life Mini Mind. I'm so excited to bring this to you today because we've already gone through day one, She Sees, which is the vision and the clarity. Day two is She Chooses. It's a line in the sand, it's a decision to actually go for those dreams. And day three is She Creates. Now, this is where the action takes place. So, when you've decided on what you want, you've seen it in a vision, you've decided it, and then you're actually taking the action. And as I was talking to someone today, an example that I'd like to step you through is if you would love your dream house. Now, I I know my family came from, my dad was a bank manager, and my mum was a cleaner, and we never owned our own homes. They were always bank houses and they were rented and they were just pretty average. And so when I grew up, I really wanted to have a beautiful house with a swimming pool, two-story balcony, everything I ever dreamed of. And so I made the decision that that was going to be my reality. So as we've already been through, these 5 steps are actually 5 days are actually sharing the quantum leap from making that, having that vision to the end result at the end of this time. So let me step you through so far. So I had the vision. I'm like, I want this beautiful house. I want to build it. I want to design it. It must have it must have a 12 jet spa. It must have a TV in the bathroom. It must have a beautiful dressing room for all my sequin gowns. And it was just like a fairy tale. I'm like, I just want this. I want the balcony that I can, it comes off of the bedroom. And I just started dreaming and I'm like, I really want that. And so I had the vision. And then I had the clarity, like I had a folder with every single detail in it, all the new furniture, all of the rooms. I designed it. I would just step outside and imagine that I was living in it. And so I saw it. Day one, She Sees. Day two is She Chooses. So I had the line of sound, that's it. I wanted the luxury spec. I wouldn't just have a single story, something that I could afford. The bank actually said, no, you cannot afford that on a teacher's salary. And my husband's a landscape gardener. There's no way that you can afford that. You can't have that. And so obstacles will show themselves. However, for me and this process that has worked for countless clients and myself is we don't look at those things. We just see them, but our vision is so much bigger than the obstacle. So I was so crystal clear on that I wanted. Then I started to choose. And so I would actually design the house. I went into the show homes, I started to write it down. I made the decision that that's it. I'm having it as long as it takes is as long as it takes. I'm living in a beautiful mansion, living in Glenelg with a swimming pool and with all these luxury specs. I made the decision and nobody could stop me. And so this today is She Creates. So I started to create by actually drawing up the plans, by actually getting the broker involved, by actually seeing how I say this loosely, like not the how, because the how absolutely stops a lot of dreams from happening. Because I didn't have the money, I didn't have those resources. I had never been somebody that came from a lot of money at all. My husband and I both had to pay for majority of our own wedding, and all the houses that we've purchased have all been from our own hard work and deposits. So we never had that, even though that my mum has been very supportive and helped with the children, which has allowed me to be able to work and bring in the resources. And same as my husband's mum has been amazing too. So they were both very supportive and very pivotal in our creating of our wealth. So I don't disregard the support that we've had. but the actual creating of it was from all of our blood, sweat, and tears, and definitely vision. So, without a vision, you've probably heard the quote, without a vision, people perish because they're like, what's the point? Why bother? So, with the creation process, it starts to feel real. And as I'm taking you through these steps, you can feel the momentum absolutely beginning to bubble up. And you can feel that excitement. You can feel you can touch it, you can taste it, you know it's yours. And I used to go to so many display homes. I would look at fittings and fixtures. I would go to bathroom shops. I would go to all home opens to have a look at decorating. And I started a folder. And yeah, so the things in the creation process, it's the aligned action to that vision. And one thing that's very important, and I was working with a client today, is actually having your blinkers on to those people that are telling you, no, you can't do it. That costs too much money. Oh, you're going to be ruined. You're going to be bankrupt. You can't invest that much. You can't do this. Like, I heard it all. And when I first went for my loan, when I designed my first mansion, they said, no way, you do not have the finances. But I spoke to one amazing lady, and I'll never forget her. Her name was Jane Archer. And I took my ideas into Metricon, and I said to her, I want to have this mansion. I know that it's mine. I know I can make it happen. And at that stage, the bank said, no way, that's going to cost too much. I wouldn't be able to service the loan. And no matter what, she believed in me. And so, over the process of a year, we started tweaking it, refining it. It was absolutely a beautiful design. And I'll actually put the picture of the house in the comments so you can see. But it all came from imagination. I absolutely did not have the financial backing or know how it was going to happen. I actually slept with a picture of it under my bed for 5 years before I actually had the courage to start the momentum. So, what I'm sharing with you is so valuable, and this doesn't have to be a house. This could be a baby. This could be a new job. This could be moving to the country. This could be because what I'm teaching you now is the process to be able to decide on something, see it in a vision, decide on it, take the action, and then tomorrow we bring it all in. So, yes, I'm really excited about this process because it seems so makes sense, doesn't it? And I feel like today I'd love to share you a contrasting way that this works as well, because so that you can see how the pattern can either create things we love in our life or create things that we really don't like. So let me share an example because I feel like contrast illustrates much better than seeing that, oh, this dream came true. She got $1 million house. Amazing, amazing. However, there is still, and as I was sharing with you, sometimes there is Safe Sally, and Safe Sally just wants to coast. She just wants to be comfortable. She doesn't want to get out there. She doesn't want to fail. But then the infinite woman comes up and says, hey, you're missing out on all this fun stuff. Like, how amazing. I feel so grateful that I got to live in that beautiful home. My house now is gorgeous too. I look at the sea every day. But that was like an absolutely amazing experience for somebody that didn't have very much, that used to sell shoes, was having that house is worth $2 million right now, and that I designed from scratch. It's so fun. This whole process is fun. So I will go back to the process. So she sees vision and clarity. She chooses line in the sand decision. She creates. She takes the aligned action with blinkers on, just focused on where she's going and she's moving forward. Tomorrow will be about she's receiving so she can actually have it. However, let me share the contrast. So, for example, you have a 9 to 5 job. It's really boring. So you see it, you're like, oh yeah, this is something I'm going to have to put up with the rest of my life. I've got a mortgage till I'm 70. I don't really see any other options. So she sees, that's her vision. And then the next one is she chooses the same environment, the same shops, the same outfit, the same friends, the same the same path to work, the same TV things, the same things she scrolls on online. Everything is the same. So she's seeing it, she's choosing it, and then she's creating it. She's eating the same food, she's exercising in the same way, she's just as the same with money, and she earns the same amount. She doesn't see anything above that. And the result is the same. It's like a loop. And the more I'm sharing this, I love it with the Infinite Woman. I get so excited because that is what is created your reality, and that is a pattern. Have a look in your health. When you see the same thing playing out over and over, that's what you get. You get what you expect. You get what you envisage. And it can't change unless you decide first and then take the action and then allow it to be yours. So it's actually a really fun process, and I'm really glad I'm teaching you because the more I see it, the more I see areas of my life that have been exponentially amazing, where I've had like giant quantum leaps very quickly, and others that have been a slow trickle because I was holding on to the familiar and predictable and the same because of my unconscious patterns and just that enjoyment of the comfort zone. Because in the comfort zone, it can get very comfortable until it doesn't. It can get very boring and it can get painful if you stay stagnant too long. So she creates is about creating that momentum, getting that excitement, that passion, like, whoa, that aliveness. And I put a post today um, that I'm not creating a bigger life for significance. I'm creating a bigger life because the feeling, the absolute feeling of the impact is just so delicious. And it is that aliveness is so intoxicating, so beautiful compared to the comfort zone, which can be very drab, very boring, very routine, and it will eventually get more painful than the comfort zone. So I'd love to share. I'm so excited that I got to share this with you today. So she creates. And that's building the momentum because momentum is movement, momentum is action, and coming through momentum is the joy, is the excitement, is the aliveness, the engagement with life. And I feel like that's what we want to feel. Because before this work, I never knew it was possible to feel so good in who I am, in the mundane, in the everyday. Like inside my head, it actually feels like a cheerleader encouraging me and cheering me on and saying, hey, it's absolutely always curious and it's intrigued by life. And I remember years ago, I was creating a lot of misery for myself because I was trying to prove my success rather than live it. And this is what I want for you to be able to live your richer life. And a richer life means more delicious energy and the health that feels vibrant and alive, and the wealth that comes through many different avenues, and you're always well resourced and you are well supported in your life, and that feels amazing. And your relationships are connected. And number one, with yourself, because you're your own best friend, you're your own cheerleader, your own encourager, your own visionary, your own change maker, your own impact trailblazer. Like it feels so good to be a mission soul rather than, and not everyone wants this, But tomorrow you'll see why not everyone wants this. Even though the results are amazing, tomorrow we look at she receives, and it is the number one block for most women. They can do all of the three steps really, really well, but the receiving all that good, receiving the money and the resources to make things happen, receiving, tomorrow we're talking about that. So I'm so excited. So reminding you that today she creates. And remember, keep those blinkers on of where you're going. Remember, it's your life. You're the author of your reality. You are creating it. You are the main character in your movie. So remember that this is a precious opportunity. It's a privilege to be alive, and you get to create. Looking forward to hearing from you. Oh, the questions to ask yourself. I love to share with you. So, what's one action your future self would naturally take? And remember, I said yesterday about my future self is she's an infinite woman and she's 88 years old and she naturally takes these daring moves and I never know the how. I just do them like this. I'm sharing this with you because it feels so good to be able to share the magic that has worked for me. It can work for you too. And what are you waiting? Where are you waiting instead of moving? And so that waiting, that hesitation is showing you where your pattern is. It's so exciting to be able to understand what your patterns are because you can't unsee what is seen. Oh, it's so fun. All right. And remember, action creates momentum, and momentum is where the dream is materialized into reality. Love you so much and looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.